Okay, Menacing MTG here, and I am very excited to bring you this deck. I'm very excited about Kaldheim, and this deck is the Tergrid deck. So I've modified the deck that was originally on AetherHub, and I think that this has good synergy. I haven't play tested it a ton, but it is here, and it works, and it is impressive. And I've made some additions that I think give this a little more staying power. Thrown a Luris in here to be able to regenerate some of these early items like the Thieves Guild and the Acquisitions Expert and so on. Okay, so the idea behind this deck is that Tergrid is your key card. It's a 5-drop god with Menace. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Just an incredible card here. And it is a two-sided card, so there are 3 of these. It's legendary. Its other side is a legendary artifact. So you can only have 1 Tergrid on at a time. Understandable, really don't need more than 1. But if you have the Lantern and the God on the board at the same time, unbelievable synergy happening here. The Lantern taps. Target player loses 3 unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Both of those, of course, trigger Tergrid's ability. And you pay 4 mana and you can untap the Lantern and do it again. So this is just something that, if you can have both these on the board, is really a formidable combo. But there are other things in this deck, many other things that work with, synergize with Tergrid. There are 12 of the Kaldheim cards in here. I'm going to quickly show you what they are. So we have 3 Tergrid, 1 Tyrite Sanctum, and this is a cool land that you can use to make legendary creatures gods with a 1/1 counter on them. In addition, you can pay that's a cost of 2 in tapping Tyrite. For a cost of 4 in tapping Tyrite, sacrifice the Sanctum, put an indestructible counter on a target god. Okay, so having an indestructible Tergrid on the board, or an indestructible Varragoth on the board, or an indestructible Eradicator Valkyrie on the board, or Valky, that's an impressive thing. Valky a little less so because we have Luris here, but really, of course, the target is Tergrid. And then I'd say the Eradicator would be next in line, but Varragoth also would be a tremendous thing to have indestructible on. All right, so without further ado, let's just run through this deck. We have some removal, very little traditional removal, because we want the opponent to be sacrificing and discarding a lot. So we have Bloodchief's Thirst. We have 2 of them. This is just in here because it's an early game removal. Can also late game take out a bigger creature or Planeswalker. So 2 of them. 2 Duress. So this gets us into the opponent's hand, allows us to look at things and remove a non-creature, non-land card from it. This is especially informative. We get to look in the hand and we get to take things out. This is a great card against non-creature spell decks. Get that stuff out of there, the artifacts, the blue-red decks, etc. 3 Thieves Guild Enforcer. We're going to hopefully have a lot of things in the graveyard of the opponent. This contributes to that, and once there are 8 things in the graveyard, 8 or more, Thieves Guild gets +2/+1 in Death Touch, which is excellent. Nice cheap card to get on the board. Also something we can sack with Village Rites to draw 2 cards. We have 3 of these in here. We want to be moving cards through. We want to get Tergrid on the board. Okay, that is our goal. Get Tergrid on the board. So the things that are going to help us get there are removing things from the hand of the opponent and forcing them to sacrifice things, slowing down their progress, and so ultimately we can start taking their things. So yeah, village rights is important here. We have 4 acquisitions expert. A key card here comes on. The opponent has to discard a card. 4 of these. Think Lyris. We can sack the thieves. We can sack the acquisitions. We can bring them back with Lyris. Okay, and continue to eat away at their resources. 2 Valky, this is a very cool card. Of course, we're not going to get to use the Planeswalker, but we are going to use that in a Rakdos version of this deck that has a whole different thing going on, and that is an incredibly powerful Planeswalker, but let's not talk about that. Valky comes on, enters the board. Each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, exile a creature card that they revealed this way until Valky leaves the battlefield. Valky at any point can pay X. Choose a creature card exiled with Valky. With converted mana cost X, Valky becomes a copy of that card. So, you're playing against a green deck with big creatures. You drop Valky. You exile this card with Valky. Later in the game, you can become that huge green creature or whatever it is. But in any case, you're taking something out of that opponent's hand until they remove Valky. So 2 of these in the deck. Wither Crown, we have 1 of these in here. This is a very cool card. We don't want to have a whole lot of these in here because honestly, there are more powerful things, but I think there's a place for having 1 of these in here. It has been effective when used. I have tried this with a couple of these in here, and I've come down to 1 because I wanted 2 Nighthawk Scavengers, the next card that I have in here, as you're loading a lot of things into the opponent's graveyard, which make the Scavenger a big, scary flyer with Death Touch and Lifelink. And we want some lifelink in this deck as well. We want this to be a sustainable deck, something that can last until we get our key cards on the board. But this makes the enchanted creature base power 0, and it has, at the beginning of your upkeep, lose 1 life unless you sacrifice this creature. So that's an awesome thing. Kind of creates a dilemma for the opponent. So hopefully you get this mid-game or so, and you put this on the most sturdy creature the opponent has, and it creates a dilemma. 2 Nighthawk Scavenger, I just mentioned that. I don't need to go into that. An awesome 3-drop in this deck. Pharika's Libation allows us to choose to cause the opponent to sack a creature or sack an enchantment. Good diversity there, 2 of them. Soul Shatter, one of my new favorite cards. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost among creatures and planeswalkers they control. Okay, unlike Pharika, which the opponent gets to choose which one, this one they don't have a choice. It's the highest converted mana cost amongst planeswalkers and creatures. 3 of these in the deck. So you're not only forcing the opponent to ditch their most valuable creature or planeswalker, but with any luck, we have Tergrid on the board, and then we possess that item. Okay, Varragoth, Bloodsky Sire. 1 of these, Death Touch, 2/3 creature, 3-drop. It is a rare card, but it has Boast, and when this creature attacks, you can pay the Boast cost. Target player searches their library for a card, shuffles the library, and puts that card on top. So this is a nice vehicle for finding Tergrid, or say Eradicator of Valkyrie, or whatever you're looking for. So yeah, 1 Varragoth in here, just 1 card that serves as a search mechanism for something you would like to get. Then we have 2 Lyris. I mentioned this earlier. Can regenerate small creatures and permanents. So that would include Wither Crown. Um, all right, we have one extinction event in here. Really, we don't want to use this card. If we have to use it, we're in tough shape, most likely because we don't want to exile our own items. We have some valuable things in this deck, and we want them to remain on the board. But and we can do a little regenerating as well. So yeah, this is just a safety valve for us. Now, 2 Nightmare Shepherd in here again, regeneration, and this is instant regeneration. So you lose your acquisitions expert, and you can even sack it. If the Nightmare Shepherd's on the board, it comes right back. They have to discard another card. It's a 1/1, but who cares? 2 of these here, and it's also a flyer. So we do have a reasonable smattering of formidable flyers with the 2 Nighthawk Scavengers, 2 of these Nightmare Shepherd, and the 1 Eradicator Valkyrie. So we do have 5 good flyers in this deck. All right. Next, another Kaldheim card. Love this card as opposed to Mind Drain or other, arterial flow. First of all, of course, this is a standard card, but it does force the opponent to discard 2 cards, which is amazing, especially with Tergrid on the board. We have 3 of these in here. The kicker with this card is that if the opponent is empty-handed, which does happen with discard decks, and this is not a pure discard deck, but you can get the opponent empty-handed by virtue of a number of different things. And if the opponent has 1 or 0 cards in their hand, you can still pay this because whatever they are not discarding, you get to draw that many cards, up to 2. So it's an amazing thing. You can also, if you get this early game, you can drop it on the board with Foretell for 2, and then in the next turn or a later turn, you can pay 2 and enact this card. It is sorcery speed. Okay, without further ado, Tergrid. We already mentioned its attributes. We already mentioned it's 2-sided with the Lantern, an amazing card. Okay, the lands are ultra simple. We have 22 Swamp and 1 Tyrite Sanctum. The Tyrite Sanctum is a very cool card. There's just 1 in here. I would have liked 2 in here because it does have a very cool ability. Target legendary creature becomes a god in addition to their types and put a 1/1 counter on it. So just by tapping it and paying 2 mana, you can do that. You can make things gods. But without jumping into that ability, I'm going to show you what legendary creatures we have that we can do that with. But we have some legendary things, or at least the Tergrids that are legendary, that you can jump right to the second ability here, which is pay 4 and tap Tyrite and sacrifice the Sanctum, but put an indestructible counter on target god. All right, so we could get Tergrid on the board, and the next turn run the second ability and make him indestructible. All right, so that is unbelievable. And Tergrid is, as an indestructible creature, is an amazing blocker. Also a 4 powered menace creature. So just a little kicker in there that can make winning a little easier. We have some nice cards that can emerge that can make a big difference. So let's look at the legendary creatures here. Not many of them, but we do have Valky, 2 of them. So you could, he's already God, so you could also make him indestructible, which would be incredibly potent. To just have Valky out here as a blocker. And you can also make the creature he may become with indestructible as well. So great option there. Also have Varaggoth, which would be incredible if he was indestructible, be able to just attack without fear of losing him, and searching out cards. They don't have to be creature cards. Any card that you might need, like say there's an enchantment that's driving you crazy, you can go find Farika's Libation, etc., etc. Also, the Eradicator is not legendary, which is kind of a surprise, but it is not. I don't know if I mentioned much about the Eradicator, but Flying Lifelink Hexproof from Planeswalker also has Boast, which when you use it, each opponent sacrifices a creature or Planeswalker. Obvious synergy there with Tergrid's abilities. Okay, so without further ado, we want to play some games with this deck. I'm very excited to have this deck. It feels like a historic deck compiled over many sets with complexity, but it is standard, which is awesome. So, please hit the subscribe button, likes, suggestions, comments. Hope you enjoy this. Have a great day. Okay, interesting hand here. No creatures except for Tergrid, because we need a creature to be able to sacrifice it to, or get more mana. We might be able to survive for a bit with this. Do have Wither Crown. Let's see what we're facing. Okay, I'm glad they're not moving terribly fast. And Duress, that's excellent. We will take that. Get a look at what they have. Okay, we don't want them to be getting control, but and Drown in the Lock is not effective with Tergrid. Okay, a little mill action here. All right, we have an interesting choice here. I think what we're going to do is drop Wither Crown on here just so we're eating at their life total. They ditch it. That's excellent. Okay, happy about that. So they do have the ability to counter spells at this point. And what we're going to do is put Skullraid up with Foretell. Not going to do anything about that. It's now available as a 2-drop. That could concern them a little bit. Okay, on their turn, nice play there. That'll create some problems. They do have the ability to counter. Let's see. Okay, we can run this now because we don't have the cards to make Drown the Lock function, if I'm reading it correctly. Yeah, and we'll go ahead and get rid of the fairy. Just we're not going to let them have an easy run at getting creatures on the board. Now the good news here is, well, let's see, they can counter target spell with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of its controller. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we got a problem there. So I'm going to throw up Acquisitions Expert. We're just trying to get rid of those Drown in the Lock. They're probably going to have to use one here as a counter. Either way, I get rid of a card from their hand. We want to be able to use Tergrid. So we're playing a bit of a waiting game here. Okay, and that's it. They are now... They're able to... Okay, let's see what we got here. So... Yeah, they can counter anything I've got. This is not good. Alright, we're just waiting here to be able to play something to draw out Drown the Lock, and we're not having any luck. I'm not going to waste Tergrid. We've still got 18 life left, so it's not an emergency by any means. And they play the Scavenger. Okay, we still have plenty of mana. We want to draw out that Drown in the Lock. Now we're just getting mana flooded here. That's too bad. Well, we're not going to last long at this pace. Yeah, and this is going from bad to worse. Give me something of value here. Preferably relatively cheap and nothing but mana. Okay, so we're going to lose this game. Okay, I like this hand, and I just want to tell you that I swapped out one Nighthawk Scavenger as I won a Eradicator Valkyrie through progression of the just by obtaining certain criteria on the game thing structure here. So there's 2 Eradicator Valkyries in here as opposed to 1, and 1 Nighthawk Scavenger as opposed to 2. It just synergizes a little better with Tergrid. There are some sacrifices, though. Having Death Touch with the Nighthawk is really valuable. They're both equally as fragile with 3 toughness. Okay, just have a little look here. Okay, it was nice to get rid of Thassa right away. They lost a ton of lands. They have Yorion up there. We'll come in for a quick shot. Next turn it looks like Skull Raid will come on with Foretell. Okay. We got mana, which is awesome. We'll go the Foretell cost here. Come in and attack. They use the Scry. This is going to become problematic as things get bigger. Okay. They'll get more land on the board. This is buying us some time, though. Alright, so I can really dump out their whole hand pretty much except for 1 creature, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're looking at the 80 card deck for the Yorion Companion. And this is going to be great because 80 card deck, a little less reliability of getting things you really want. And to be able to take so much out of their hand here is terrific. And this is going to cause Thieves Guild to be a 3/2 with Death Touch. Okay, this is all good because they don't have anything terribly valuable to blink with Yorion at this point. We bring them down to 13. We've got flyers ready to go. Okay, they'll kill something here. It'll be an acquisitions expert. No problem there. If they kill another one, though, it'll come back because I'm going to bring on the Knight Shepherd. We're going to come on in with it. They don't want to lose the Wicked Wolf. Okay, down to 10. Alright, so they could blink this, but it's just going to come back. Not much value in that. Okay. Well, there is a little bit of value, but we do get some things back on the board here. They don't have anything to discard, unfortunately. Alright. They get to seek a land, I believe, and they'll come in and kill the acquisitions expert. No big thing. Okay, this is terrific. We're going to bring on the Valkyrie. Scary card for them. Bring on the Thieves Guild. They'll mill a couple. And now we can come in with the other Thieves Guild. And we've got the upper hand here and could possibly finish them next turn, but we'll see what happens. They scryed, they like the card. Okay. Well, this is the game pretty much, I think. I'm going to take a look here. Oh boy, let's see. I think I'm going to... We're going to sacrifice the creature because then they can do their searching bit, but we are going to drop them to 1 and we should have creature advantage. They keep the card. They draw down to 4 mana. They don't like the scry. It's looking like it's over. They are going to be able to sack things. And they do. Okay. Nicely played. But they're in a bind here because I'm going to be able to kill that. But nope, they have done a nice job there. We've got a problem. No attacks. Okay. And we get nothing but land. What a bummer. We won't waste it. Wow, what a shift this has become. They get land. We'll let that come in, of course. Nothing to do. Alright, this should work. Excellent. Okay, this is really great. No attacks. Okay. That's too bad. Alright, so now we have 7 mana, and I'm very tempted to ditch the Thieves Guild Enforcer here. I think that I'm going to... Okay. 8 mana. I'm going to attack with it. They'll have to block. They'll chump block here. And we're going to sack it. Okay. Bring on Tergrid. Next turn we can make it indestructible, but we've got a problem, as they're going to be able to come in and attack. With these two and Yorion, we're okay for the moment here. We're hoping they can't remove. Yeah. Oh geez, what do we got here? Okay. Got a little card draw going here. They have 3 mana available. Okay. All right. This is good. Let's just see what is the most sensible thing to do here. Okay, Luris isn't going to help us a bunch. We'll make Tergrid indestructible. And we're just going to come at this Planeswalker here. And that's going to force them to sack some things. I want to get rid of those because I can't possess those, but next turn with any luck, we'll be able to do that. And if they know what they're doing here, they will not attack with an acquisition of a apparition. They can bump their life up here. We're looking to possess things. That's what we want. Okay, that's a bit of a problem. They're tapped out. The Orion should be coming in, I would say, although they're in a bit of a tricky spot with Tergrid having Menace. Yeah, and they're going to hold off. Very interesting. We'll see what happens here. They ditched that. Okay. They did not think that through. That it's going to gain us life, and this is going to be a brutal event for them here, as we'll get Yorion. And here is Tergrid in action, and we'll get to blink something if I want, and I don't think there's anything worth blinking, so submit 0. I'm going to bring up the acquisitions expert. We'll go ahead and sack this and gain the life, and I think we've got this. Oh, I love it. Okay, yeah, we think we've got this game in hand, folks. We're going to come in. And they cannot block it. Okay. Back to practice. We're hoping. Okay. Yep. So there it is. We got a number of things going on there. Really enjoyed that game. Got to see Tergrid become indestructible. Took Yorion, broke their back. That was awesome. Okay. Pretty good hand. You know, we'll be looking for more lands, but we're going to keep this. This is the luxury of having Thieves Guild and Acquisitions Expert in here. You can make cast meaningful spells right off the bat. And we have some excellent 3-drops awaiting, and Skull Raid we can also drop for its Foretell. So we have 3 plays without, make that 4 without any additional land cards. We get a little glance into what's going on here as Ora. Okay, it looks like we're looking at clerics, and they are tough. So without further ado, let's get some of those off the board here. Okay, this is great because they mill 2, they lose Speaker, Righteous Valkyrie. Okay, some excellent cards going away, and they're going to lose yet another. Oh wow, okay, so they're losing some heavy-duty stuff. It does look like a scary deck. You know, we're going to come right in with Thieves Guild Enforcer. They don't want to block. It is a lifelink bearing creature, but it has Menace, so we're going to allow that to come in right away. Okay, now this is a little scary. We know that if you have Luris, you can regenerate this and it comes back as a 5/5 flyer. So the question is what to do here, and I'm sure everything they have in their hand is likely valuable, but we're going to have to bring in the acquisitions expert here. We can double block the Null Priest now. We don't want them gaining life. And this should create a 2/1 bonus and Death Touch on the Thieves Guild Enforcer, which is awesome, as it'll be their 8th card in the graveyard. Okay, wow, Doomscar. We don't have the mana for that, but that's a scary card. And we're not going to attack, we want to just stay put. We're looking for mana at this point, but if we don't get it, we will put Skull Raid up with its Foretell. Okay, if we do get it, we've got options, but now we've got the Guild Enforcer here. They must not have a Luris in hand. They're not willing to come in with a vessel yet. So I have I can get rid of Aura right here, which is probably an excellent idea. They'll be able to bring something back, but it'll have to be, well, they've got a couple options. But yep, it's the Valkyrie, that's a tough card for us. No attacks. Okay, Veto. That causes a major problem. So we're going to want to get rid of something. They'll have to choose between the Valkyrie and Veto. We do get land, which is awesome. They don't have anything to discard anymore, but we're going to go ahead and make them make this hard decision. And we've still got good cards. We've got card draw, we've got Vargoth, and we've got the Nighthawk. And we will not come in. Again, we're waiting for bigger things. I think we'll probably put Nighthawk on because we don't want the Valkyrie coming in, and then they can gain some life. Okay, they're going to lose some life there with the card draw. Okay. All right. One more mana would really be awesome, but I think we got to go with the Scavenger here. And we do want to get Vargoth on because that's going to equate to getting Tergrid in hand. No attacks. Now, we've just stopped Vargoth from attacking in most cases, although it's going to get +2/+2, and that's why they're coming in with this. We're forced to kill it. As a matter of fact, what I think I'm going to do is use Nighthawk, which will gain us life. Which is great. Oh, we get land. This is amazing. So, what we're going to do is bring on Vargoth. And we're going to put Skullraid up with its Foretell. So that'll be card draw next turn. And now this has the power of 4, which is everything gets +2/+2, which is a problem for us, but we do have Death Touch all around here, so I don't foresee them, although Aura's ability is great. They get to bring something with lesser converted mana cost when things die. A problematic card for us. I'm hoping they just kind of stay put, as we will attack with Vargoth next turn. We'll also run Skullraid, and that should get us Tergrid. Okay, they sack a creature, so now they're going to be able to bring on another. Okay, and they're going to be able to create flyers, which is ultra scary here. And this is a moment extinction event is something you'd start considering. Alright, not exactly what we wanted, but we're gonna start by running this. Okay. That's good news. So now we're just going to use this to get rid of the speaker. And I'm going to use the Acquisitions Expert to empty the hand and have them mill some more cards. They are down to 33 at this point. And next we're going to come in with Vargoth. Tough choice for them here. They do have a ton of land. If I was them, I'd let it come in. There's no reason to block that card for them. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my Foretell, so that was short-sighted of me. Probably should not have used this, although... Yeah, here we go. Let's see what happens. Nothing. Okay, so... we do have enough mana to attack with Vargoth, pay the Boast, and put Tergrid on the board next turn. That will be the tipping point, but we're vulnerable right now. We do have one flyer as a blocker, and they are going to try to unload it. And it's vigilant. And we're not going to block. They just have bigger things at play here. Okay. They're going to draw a card with some life. They got two cards that they have used Foretell with. Okay, so here we go. We have all kinds of options here, but the one I'm interested in right now is attacking with Vargoth. Using the Boast. Grabbing Tergrid. Okay, and they're going to bring something on the board. And we do have a big problem here, but we do have Tergrid and we do have Skullraid ready to go. So next turn we can run both. Will we last, though? Okay. We're really on the knife's edge here with this game, as this angel deck is hurting us very badly. Obviously, it's the last turn, next turn, if we do not make something happen here. We can get our life up to 13, but we're not going to endure with no flyers. Forced to take it off the board. Okay, let's see what happens here. Tergrid comes on. We're hoping this card is of value. Skull Raid. It's a land, and that's the worst case scenario. Not really a terrible surprise. And it's game. That's a loss.